Hello beauties, it's Brittany and welcome back to my channel today. I am so stoked about this. I have been waiting so impatiently for this package. If you follow me on Instagram, I've done a few rants about it. But today, arrived on my doorstep, this beauty. This is the Tati Beauty palette and how gorgeous is she? I am trying to channel my Tati vibes today, and I have like a black low-cut shirt on, some hoop earrings, lots of rings, and I am ready to get glam. I actually am only going to be able to wear this makeup for like an hour because I have to wash it off and go to work, and if I went to work with a face like I'm about to do, no. I obviously have some brows on. I have not opened this. I have not peeked inside because I wanted to open it with you guys, and I'm so excited. The bottom of the box says, "Beautiful is your story to tell." This is so sleek. Like, it has a matte finish. It's so soft. The outer casing it's beautiful. And the matte black is really, really cool against the kind of shiny black of Tati Beauty. It's really nice. Cruelty-free, vegan, distributed by Tati in California. All of the ingredients are listed on the sleeve. Okay, now can I get it out of the sleeve is the question. I'm so excited. Just like when I did the Shane Dawson, just like when I did the Shane Dawson Jeffree Star palette, I just have this like flutter inside. I'm just very excited about it. So this is the Textured Neutrals Volume 1 palette, and she did really talk a lot about the setup of the palette and the reason it looks the way that it does. I'm sure if you're watching this, you're a fan of hers and you watched that. The magnetic closure on this is pretty intense. I've heard also that the mirror is massive. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, let's get this little plastic guy out of here. And here she is. Wow. She purty. The mirror is absolutely massive, and this is like, just for comparison's sake, how big the palette is overall. It takes up like the top of my head down to my chest even. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was. I'm just kind of taking it all in. I'm such a fan of glitter. I love the way that she laid this palette out. You can definitely tell that she took some time and gave herself the freedom to be innovative. We have so many palettes on the market, like more palettes than any of us could ever have, use, play with. And this palette, in a world of all of that frenzy, does stand out to me, where it does look like just an everyday neutral palette, which I love, but it has this unique feature where each row this direction has a shade name, and then if you go down the palette, the textures change. And I'm just so curious to play with this and have it on my eyes, and maybe even include it in my makeup artistry kit if it's something that I feel like I can use for bridal looks. This like section right here is very like bridal vibes to me, and I can't wait. We're gonna play with it. We're gonna find out how it works on the eyes. I thought it might also be fun to try some of the tips that Scott Barnes has talked about in her videos. So I'm going to bring like a darker color onto my chest for foundation. I'm going to do like hardcore contouring. I thought it might be fun to play with like different makeup techniques while I also play with Tati's palette, because I feel like Tati would appreciate that. Like, that is definitely her vibe. She just wants everybody to express themselves creatively with makeup, and I love that. While I love this shirt of mine, I never wear it because it's quite low, and I am having some kind of like allergic reaction this morning, which pale people problems, so we're gonna cover it up with foundation and we're gonna get started because I need makeup. I thought I would bring the palette up a little bit closer. I did turn on my lights so it's a more realistic appearance of the eyeshadow colors. That Row Poet at the end looks a lot more pink on camera right now to me, but could just be my eyes. I'm so excited to play with these colors. I feel like while Scott does normally go in with the face first, I myself always go in with the eyes first, so that's what I'm going to stick with. I thought it might be fun to do some swatches first because that's always what I want to do when I first get a palette, so let's just start with a few of the mattes. This also gives me an idea of like how hard I should be pressing when I put my brush into the palette. So that's the black, the brown. So from just like literally touching it very, very, very softly, the swatches are very, very light. Let me give it a little bit more pressure. Okay, there we go. And sometimes I feel like initially with any palette I've ever tried, that first swatch, that first lay down, that first eyeshadow application is a lot different than what it ends up being like day to day. There's just something about like that top layer of product that sometimes to me I find after one or two uses the shadow is a lot easier to work with. But there is Memory, Ritual, and Story. Wow, okay, Memory is living on my hand. Get off of here, Memory. Leave me with your memories. Okay, let's try some of the sequin shades. I know she specifically mentioned with these that you don't want to swirl your brush so much or swirl it on the eye. You really want to pat this kind of color onto the eye. Wow, that is beautiful. Holy wow, that's gorgeous. And it was very, very easy to get off of the pan and onto my hand. Wow. Okay, let's go in with Aurora, my favorite. I'm so excited about this one. Oh my god. Wow. It feels almost like a cream shadow. That is interesting. Wow. I'm so excited. And then let's try Poet. Oh my goodness. The shimmer in there is magical. Magical. I really hope that that shimmer is showing up on camera, especially with Poet, this last one over here. Oh, it has like such a gorgeous shift to it. Oh, these are beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna get up close here again. I tried to remove the other shades as much as possible. So this is Story, Soothe. I don't know why I went so far from each other. And Aurora. Kind of out of order there and pretty messy, but I'm trying here, guys. Okay, wow. Definitely I can see a lot of people were saying it's not what they think of as metallic. This is a lot more satin, I guess, than metallic, but it's subjective. So time for the glitters. I have Story, Soothe. Wait, no. I have Story, Aurora, and Poet. So there are the glitters. I feel like at this point Tati normally takes her earrings out too, so I'm gonna take mine out. I'm so nervous right now. I don't know why. Okay, I'm gonna pull out a few of my favorite brushes. Well, I suppose there's no better time than the present. I'm going to start with Aurora. Let's just start with Aurora. Put that kind of under the brow bone. I do have an eyeshadow primer on. Very nice, very nice. Do you feel like you're close enough? Should I bring you closer? Okay, hopefully that is better. Let's go in with Soothe. I haven't really watched any tutorials on this palette besides Tati's. Ooh, yes. Wow. That is a smooth eyeshadow. I mean, as the name might imply, but dang. Smooth matte. I guess I need to specify. Feeling like doing like a blown out type of look. So my lips are looking kind of sickly. And this is the Scott Barnes 62 brush. And if you've never been on my channel before, I mean, you could probably see by looking at me, but I do have hooded eyelids. I have pretty oily eyelids, so I generally need to use some kind of eyeshadow primer. I also do get, like if I use shadows that are glitters, or if I use like cream shadows or a liner, if I don't use the right kind of primers, it will transfer to my upper lid. So today will be kind of a test of that, and I always use eyeshadow primer. This is blending very, very smoothly. I'm gonna bring it all the way in. I'm not really sure what kind of look I'm going for. I mean, you could do that, put a little bit of Aurora, of that sequin Aurora on the lid and be done. I want to play with as many shades as possible today, so I'm not going to stop there. But if I were like kind of just getting ready for work on a daily basis, I would just put Soothe in the crease and then Sequin Aurora or Matte Aurora or Metallic Aurora right on the lid and just be done with it. I feel like I could sit here and blend this and it would just start, like it would just look more beautiful. Like it's not blending away into nothing. It's staying very present on the eyelid, but it's very easy to manipulate and to kind of place it where I want it and then blend it where I feel like I want it to kind of soften out to. I am really enjoying this shade. And I know it's only one eyeshadow, but I'm a fan so far. I'm going to take a smaller brush and go into Matte Ritual. This is a Sigma E45. That's gorgeous. It's blending out beautifully. Okay, I'm going to take Matte Story and pop that right above the crease so that when I open my eyes, it's kind of the part of my eyelid that actually shows. So it's the part of the hood that kind of comes up and folds over the bottom part of my lid, and I want that to be what you see when my eye is closed. And this is a Covet S185 brush. I don't even know if it's available anymore. It's a pretty old brush. These are performing better than any eyeshadow that I've worked with ever, I think. That's bold to say. I'm taking a little bit of Aurora and just kind of blending out the crease with the Scott Barnes brush. But they're just they're so effortless. I don't have to fuss around, dip back a bunch. It's just moving along so effortlessly. I love this. I'm going to take an angled brush and Matte Memory and see if I can kind of smudge this along the lash line. And then I'm going to take a brush and kind of smudge it out. Yeah, wow. It does look pretty similar to Ritual once it's kind of smudged out. I do have to say that. But oh my gosh, this is so easy. Oh my gosh, and there's no fallout either. I just realized that. I mean, we haven't gotten into any of the shimmer shades yet, which tends to be when it happens, but matte shades do have a lot of fallout sometimes too. It's going very quickly, very easily. Now where I'm going to struggle is what I want to do on the actual eyelid, because I want to play with like all of the finishes. I'm going to take Metallic Ritual on a tiny brush and just pat this on this kind of outer corner. Wow, this is no Fix Plus dry brush, and it's applying very nice. Okay, so you see how it's kind of on like 1/3, 1/4 even of the eye space. I honestly hate doing my left eye. Okay, let's break it down. So far, we have Aurora on the brow bone. We have Soothe all in the crease. These are all the matte shades. We have Ritual on the outer corner. We have Story right above the crease, or right into the crease. Then we have Memory as kind of a liner on the lower lashes, or on the lash bed. Then we have Ritual Metallic right next to Matte Ritual on the outer area here. Now I'm gonna take Story Metallic and pop this. See, this is where I'm feeling like I need. Let me try my finger. I don't use my fingers a lot for eyeshadow, especially on like the inner corner, because my finger is a lot bigger than my eyelid, or my eyelid space is just not big enough, and I end up getting a bunch down below, or it goes too far in. I just can't get precise enough with my finger. Nothing against using your finger. I just personally feel like for my eye shape, it just doesn't give me what I'm looking for. Okay, that's working pretty well. I want to see it amped up. So again, I'm in Metallic Story. I'm going to spritz my brush. Yeah, there it goes. Beautiful. That's gorgeous. So as you can see, I'm not going all the way on the inner tear duct because I do want to put Aurora there. I'm going back into Ritual Metallic with the slightly damp brush and just kind of patting that out. Then I'm going to go back into Ritual Matte and smoke out the outer corner again. Maybe bring it into the crease a little bit. I'm constantly going in with Aurora, and I do this with most eyeshadow looks, and I clean up the brow bone area with a matte white because my eyelid space is so small. Once I start to creep shadows up too high, it makes the eye look even smaller, and I definitely don't want to do that. So I did put a little bit of mascara on. I used the Believe Volumize mascara. This is actually brown. It's just kind of like a nice base layer of mascara so that I can get a sense of what's happening. I'm going to move on to the face now, and I'm going to do a full glam Tati look. Like this, I feel like is the epitome of her channel. It's definitely a lot of Scott Barnes tips, a lot of tips that I've learned from her over the years. So, oh my gosh, I am loving the way that this look came together. So let me talk you through a little bit what I did with the face and the body. So I took a foundation that's slightly darker than my skin tone, like Scott Barnes does on Tati, and I used the Rimmel Wake Me Up foundation in the shade Ivory, which is too dark for me, and I did that on my body, and I actually really love the way that it looks. It definitely doesn't look like self-tanner. It just makes me look a little bit more alive. You can also see a lot of the veins in my chest, which is very common for very fair people like myself and as you age, so it just kind of helped to even everything out, and I'm loving it. So for contour, I used my Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel with a pure brush that's kind of inspired off of the Artiste brushes, and I put that in the hollows of my cheekbones, on my jawline. I'm really trying the technique that he talks about where you don't move your face around when you're contouring because it does distort where the lines actually need to be. So I really focused that on the jawline without moving my face around too much, and it does turn out so much better. I also brought it on my forehead, down my nose. I had to clean up like the center of my nose because I put way too much there at first, but I love this stuff. It's definitely a product that I actually have in my makeup artistry kit that I use on other people. Like I have another one in there, and it just looks beautiful on most complexions, and it blends well under foundation. And then I have been testing out the Believe Skin Finish Foundation. I have the shade Linen, which is their lightest shade, and I use that as foundation. Now this is like a full coverage foundation, which day to day is typically not what I'm wearing, but this is a full glam look today. So I was actually trying to be a little bit more precise with the placement of this so that it didn't completely cover up the contour, because I did want that to kind of show through. So on the areas where I did put the contour, I lightly tapped the foundation over versus covering that area fully. But I do have some blemishes in the actual like contour of my face, so I did have to go in with a concealer later on. For under the eyes, I used a mix of my Jeffree Star concealer in C4, which is very, very light, and my ColourPop No Filter concealer in the shade Light 10. Blended that out with a beauty blender and a brush, and then for those blemishes, I used my NARS Soft Matte Creamy Concealer in the shade Creme Brulee, which is just like slightly too dark for me. I talked about this in a recent favorites video. Then I lightly set my face with a powder that I don't typically use, but Scott Barnes uses this on Tati, so I wanted to use it. I used it to kind of set under the eyes and just lightly everywhere else. He is totally right. Like, the less you use of this, the better. It's so finely milled and it seems very dusty, so you might think that you're not really getting it on the skin, but just use the tiniest amount and it will perform better than if you do a lot of it. For bronzer and contour, I used the BH Cosmetics Brilliance bronzer in the shade Golden Gale, and this is a really nice matte bronzer. So I used my Scott Barnes 65 brush and really kind of chiseled out further the cheekbone area, forehead, sides of the nose, jawline. I have a very small nose already, so I don't feel like I need to contour it too much. I just like to kind of bronze up that area so that it matches the rest of the face and that everything blends together well. I even took a larger Morphe M527 brush to just kind of blend everything out a little bit further so that it wasn't stark lines on the skin. For blush, I used my favorite Becca Flower Child blush. I was very liberal with this today, and I actually tried a technique that they talk about a lot, which is like pushing the blush up on the face versus like out or down, like really pressing the brush into the face and then moving upward, and that just helps to kind of lift the face overall. Went in with a little bit of my Hourglass Ambient Highlighting Powders right underneath the eye area. I feel like this is a product that Tati uses a lot and makes me feel very glam whenever I use it. I lined my lip with actually my recent favorite lip liner. This is the Believe Beauty Long Lasting Lip Liner in Barely There. Love that it is a retractable lip pencil, and I did contour around the lips today and then kind of overlined them, so definitely experimenting with that. I used the Flower Beauty Spice Petal Cream lipstick, just a bullet lipstick today in a nude shade, and then I layered on top of that my Fenty gloss, and this is the original one, so I don't remember the shade name, but it's her original gloss, and that just makes the lips look so juicy. I love it. And I actually wanted to use the Tati palette for the highlighter today, so I took Aurora Metallic and I used that as the highlight on my cheekbones, and wowza, it's beautiful. And I wanted an extra kick today, so I used the Fenty Beauty How Many Carats Diamond Balm right on the apples of the cheek, and it's gorgeous. Then I went on with the Tati palette on the lower lashes. I took Soothe Matte to start and smoked that all along the lower lashes. Then I went in with Ritual, more focused on the outer corner, but bringing that pretty far in. And then I went with Story on the inner portion of the lower lash line, using that Scott Barnes 62 brush to smoke things out along the way so that it wasn't so like stark, but it was more of a blown out look. I took Memory on a very tiny angled brush, that same angled brush that I used on the top, and I used that on the very outer corner, and then took the Scott Barnes brush to blend that out as well. And I dipped a little bit of Soothe onto that blending brush and just kind of used it to blend out that lower lash line, again, giving it that more smoky, smooth appearance instead of just like, okay, here's a color, here's a color, here's a color. And then on the very inner corner, I used Just finished the look, and I want to bring you in as close as possible so that you can see all of the eyeshadows on the eyelid. You can see the way that the lower lashes smoked out. I did put false eyelashes on today. I just felt like with a full glam look, I definitely wanted that. And everything looks amazing.
Hey, Bean wants to say hello. Hello, Bean. Yes, we love you. Yes, hi, baby.
Thought it might be beneficial to come in front of my window and show you what everything looks like in natural light so you can get a sense of these shimmers and kind of what they look like when you're standing in front of a window versus artificial kind of like studio lights. And it's magnificent. I love it. I want to like look at it but show you, so I don't want to close my eyes. You like that you can hear my dog lapping up water in the background? Are you thirsty? This seems to keep happening to me in the last few days is I'll film a video, go to edit it, and footage will be missing. I don't know what's going on in my brain. It's a new setup, whatever. I'm not gonna bore you with all of that. But I filmed an outro for the clips that you just saw, and it's gone. So I will give you my thoughts on the Tati Beauty palette. This actually works out for the better because actually I've had more time to play with it. I've created this look today, which will be in another video I'll have posted later on. So my thoughts on this palette overall is that it's freaking amazing. I'm obsessed with this palette. The shadows are so blendable, so easy to use, so effortless. Like that's the only thing that keeps popping to my brain when I think of this palette, is that it is effortless. I love the fact that she went out of the box and did something innovative and new in a world where we have palette after palette after palette. This is standing out to me. I love that there are shade names on the bottom of the palette, and then when you go up the palette it has different finishes, so it's got kind of a monochromatic row, and it's just fun. The packaging is also so sleek and feels so expensive. It is gonna collect, you know, handprints and makeup, but Tati has said herself, just kind of wipe it off and you'll be good to go. The mirror in here is just absolutely outstanding. The magnetic closure is like strong. Like it's a strong closure. I can just really tell that somebody who truly loves makeup, truly loves the experience that you get when you're applying eyeshadows and when you're applying makeup, created this palette. I'm such a fan of these glitters on top. Oh, that was a clip that was actually missing, was me applying the glitters. So the glitter that I used for the look was, I believe, a mix of Story and Soothe. And maybe a tinge of Aurora. I just remember mixing like quite a few of them together, but I just used my finger and patted that on. It was very easy to apply with my fingertip. I would recommend doing your eyes first because there will be some fallout, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. My favorite thing about this is that in a world of endless makeup, more eyeshadows than any of us could ever apply onto our eyes, that Tati took the time to create something that was different. Unlike every other palette that we're seeing released on the market, not only is there a different formula altogether in this sequin row, but the way that the shadows are laid out and named is different and unique, and the packaging is just phenomenal. I really think she did a fantastic job. I truly cannot wait to see what else comes out in the Tati Beauty range. I have watched Tati since she was in her room by herself before James, like doing Madness Mondays, and I know that in her career she's had these little pockets of drama and she's changed a lot as a person, but all of us change on a daily basis, and I think that all in all, as a creator and as a developer of makeup and of these different brands that she's created, you know, with Halo Beauty and now Tati Beauty, she's very smart. She's very innovative. She knows what she wants, and it definitely shows in this palette. I'm just so excited, and I'm very happy that I have this in my collection, and I definitely recommend this to anyone. I mean, there is that row of shimmers, so if you're never gonna wear those in your entire life, maybe wait till she possibly releases something without any glitters, but I will use this palette time and time again above so many palettes that I have because the quality is just outstanding. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you were able to snag this palette or if you intend to when it does relaunch. I cannot wait to see what she brings out in 2020. And I do hope you subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Have a beautiful day. Bye guys.